Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of the Untitled Car Project. We hope you all are doing fine. And so, Siddhant, who are we bringing in this time?
Today we are bringing in Kunal Sharman, who claims to have the first 1600cc twin cam in India. We're going to talk about the whole motorsport scene that he's been involved in, and we'll also talk about how the motorsport scene has actually gotten him to build his first vehicle. And let's get on with it.
Yep.
Welcome to the Untitled Car Project podcast, your one stop show about Indian car enthusiasts capable of giving Dominic Toretto a run for his money. With serial gearheads Siddhant and Shivam, here we go.
So hi there. Could you let us in on your vehicle that you have built and whatever work that you have done till now? A little brief
Yeah,
about
so I got an S-Team. I've swapped an engine with a 1.6 twin cam. So 1.6 is a block from the Baleno, from the old Baleno,
All right.
and the head is a twin cam GTI head, which never made it to India. So
So, you imported it?
like it's actually available here in with a lot of scrap dealers and all.
Okay.
But technically it's imported, yeah, obviously. But I didn't import it directly. I got it through them.
So what was the procedure of importing the whole thing? What did you go through? Like, is it feasible to get a engine much easily, or does it take a lot of effort, a lot of money to get it in India?
See, money is always required, obviously, but it depends on what kind of an engine it is. Like this twin cam engine is there in Delhi and India quite a lot. So it is not that difficult to get it. So it depends on what kind of engine you want, what is the availability of it. If it's an engine which is not easily available, then you might, face a few problems, but it's not difficult. And it's not like, it'll burn a hole in your pocket. It's not like that. Little bit, obviously, you need some money for it, but it's not, yeah.
So, like most of the people that you talked about it being a Baleno block on a crankcase of an S-Team, which is a 1300cc. So most of the people
No, the
aren't
crank
aware
block, everything is from the
everything is
Baleno.
okay.
Yeah.
So swapped out completely. The engine is
The
completely
complete
swapped.
engine.
And
Yeah,
transmission? Same, like stock transmission?
yeah.
Or...
Transmission is S-Team. Yeah,
Okay.
S-Team transmission.
Okay. I've heard people talking about swapping out an S-Team transmission to a Zen transmission.
Yeah.
How much reliable is it to swap out a S-Team transmission to a Zen transmission?
Yeah, it is. It is a cheap option for a short ratio gearbox, but it's not exactly a short ratio. It is shorter than the S-Team, yes, but yeah, you do run into problems like breaking the differential quite often because it's not designed for that much of torque, and the torque is the main game with the G16 block. The torque, goes up like crazy compared to the other G10 and G13s. So you will run into reliability issues, but then obviously being an easily available gearbox in the second-hand market, it's fair in both sides, But it's not a proper short ratio gearbox. I'll make that clear. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to clear out one more thing. Whether is there a replacement, a complete aftermarket set for the gearbox that is available in the market? So which is the company that is making it, or is there a company that in India that supplies it?
Yeah, there are a few companies. I mean, they are not basically companies. They are motorsport workshops only around. For a normal short ratio gearbox, we make it on our own. Basically the casing of the gearbox remains the same. The gears inside, we change them. So, and then there's a straight cut gear option also now quite easily available, though they're imported from Thailand, and it's a private importer. He does not disclose his name or anything like that. But yeah, there are many options for a gearbox. So basically, the housing, the outer casing of the gearbox stays the same. What the gears are changed inside. That's it.
Okay.
So that you
So,
guys manufacture
Yeah, the ones which are not straight cut, the regular short ratio, we manufacture them. The straight cuts are imported from Thailand.
Okay.
All right. So there's one more thing that we wanted to know, since you've been in the automotive sector for a while. So have you? What are the competitions and events that you've been taking?
Yeah, I mainly do tarmac events right now
Okay.
because my car is set up for a tarmac track.
Coming to
And
the car being set up to the tarmac track, what is the difference
yeah.
between a tarmac track and an off track? What are the changes that you have to make in a car?
Yeah.
Main is the suspension. Like, it's a different, like, mechanically the rest of the car will almost be the same.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's basically the suspension. So there are a few options which you can run on dirt and tarmac as well.
Okay.
And there are a few options which are only for dirt and only for tarmac. So what I am running is right now my suspension is a custom suspension basically with lowering springs from Focklong, and the dampers are custom made by my very dear friend Sparky, who has done the swap also of my car. And yeah, so
So
basically
when
suspension is the main. Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
say someone has a coilover setup.
yeah,
So like, and there are lots of different settings on it. So the same coilover can be used on tarmac and off-road, or do you need a
yeah, yeah.
separate coilover for off-roading?
No, see, the reliable coilovers, you can run both on dirt and tarmac, no problem at all. And even some of them are even capable of doing rally also.
Okay.
all right.
So it depends again how much money you put in, and that's what you get. See, racing in my mind is all about money in terms of what outcome you want from your participation in the motorsports event. There are people who just want to participate for the that I participated in a rally or in a race or in an autocross. Then there are people who want to win it.
Yeah.
So if you are just in it for for a hobby or for your passion,
Yeah.
then you don't need much money to get into it. But if you want to compete on a level of winning, then obviously you need to put in that much of money also in the car. And because
I
I would
mean,
always say it is,
since now there's no event that is currently going on because of the COVID-19 and all. So what has the
yeah,
world shifted to? What has the motorsport world shifted to? Is it taking on the e-motorsport?
yes, very much. We have like a championship going on the game called Dirt Rally 2,
Okay.
and it's a multi-platform championship. You be it on PS4, PC, or Xbox. There's a motorsports organization called BND Motorsport.
Okay.
Again, a very dear friend of mine called Lakshay V. Dabas runs it, and he took this initiative of taking everything to the platform.
Okay.
So we have about 74 participants in that
And that is 74 from
championship
India itself.
from India, from our circle.
Okay, yeah, that's from your circle. That's a huge number.
Yeah, and these are the people who actually, most of them who come for autocrosses and rallies around, and so he has, and there's a class for steering and controller. So if you're on a keyboard, you come in the controller class,
Okay.
and then if you have a steering wheel, like a proper simulator setup or something, then you come in the steering class. So it's very fair for everybody.
Okay.
That it all depends on what setup you have and what kind of a simulator you have, and it's a
And
There's one more
multi-platform. Now
thing I
we
wanted to
started.
ask you.
yeah, is there
Yeah,
any
There's
long-term
one more thing.
scope for it?
Yeah.
yeah. There is actually there is, like, there are now, because of me, taking part in this BND motorsports and the e-racing basically. I got to know a lot about these e-racing groups abroad,
Okay.
All right.
and they are pretty big. They are pretty big. There are about 130 people in one group, 170 people in one group. So it's actually very big now. Slowly, thanks to Lakshay. In India also we are seeing it, and it is actually very, how would I say, it's very competitive because we have a WhatsApp group of all the 74 people, So after the rally, we have a discussion in the group of what's going on, what happened to a certain person, why couldn't he finish the rally. It's very very competitive and very interesting also. And there's a scope. There's a huge scope in it. And
There is one
technically,
thing I
it
want
will
to ask
cost
you
you.
about.
It will cost you less money also.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
Like
is
when you
it
It's a
compare it with
one-time
the
investment.
okay?
So coming back to the situation, this is the real situation, not the e gaming.
Yeah.
There's one more thing that I want to ask you. Like I've been to events and all, and I've seen people, making their hoods out of fiber, their doors out of fiber,
Mhm.
the trunk out of fiber. What is the importance? How important is your power to weight ratio in terms of a tarmac event, and how do you define it in general?
Yeah, be it any event, rally,
Yeah.
autocross, tarmac, dirt, track, weight is the main game. It's not power in my mind. What I've seen in the past 4 years of being in this completely. Weight is the main game. Like if you see my car, the only reason I would like to believe it's fast. The only reason it's
I'm pretty
fast
sure it
is
is fast.
you have been in it, you know it.
Yeah, I've been in it. That's right.
So it on a good day it pulls from 0 to 100 in 7.5 seconds.
That's
On
amazing.
and the major mod is the engine, exhaust intake, standalone ECU. These are steps to it, but the major thing is only the engine in the car. I haven't done anything more than that. And if in that much it can pull 0 to 100 in 7.5 seconds, weight is the game in my mind. Yeah.
Weight is definitely the game then.
Like again, I would say being in a straight line is a different thing, and being in autocross is different. Being on a track is different. But eventually, power to weight is what you need. Like there's a reason for the S team still being used for racing, even 13 years after it has been out of production.
True.
There has to be a reason behind it, and the reason is mainly weight, because it's a very light car, and you can lose a lot of weight in the car.
Yeah.
Like I believe I've lost more than 120 kgs in my car, because I have fiber boot put and the rear doors of fiber. The interior is completely stripped out. You have seen it,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and even the power windows I have removed from the
It's
from
like
the
as much as
rear door.
weight you can extract from the cars.
Yeah, there's no aircon, there's no AC,
Okay.
so you sweat till the track.
So it's not a daily drive. It's made for the track.
Yeah, it is a purpose-built car. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Like people are more inclined towards making a daily drive because let's face it, people usually who want to get into it have only one car, and the game in India is pretty costly than what it's outside. I believe. The
Sorry.
availability and all. I believe that the whole game of getting your car on the track is much more costlier in India because of the part procurement.
See, that depends again on what kind of a build you want to do. If it is just a build, just to participate, you don't need much money. That can be done on a very normal budget also. But if you want to compete on a level of winning, like I mentioned earlier, it has to be then it has to be a proper build with everything. Then be it India or be it abroad, it will cost you money.
Okay.
Like good amounts.
Compared
Yeah.
compared to other countries, say USA or any other country, is getting custom parts or even building parts, is it expensive or comparatively the same amount? Like you
Yeah,
have
it is a little expensive.
okay.
Okay.
It is a little expensive in terms of it's basically the duty you have to pay. So that depends on what part you get. So some parts have a higher duty, some parts have lower duty. So yeah, it depends on that, but it's not a lot of a difference. There's a difference, obviously. Even if you buy a mobile phone from abroad and India, there's a difference in price.
Yeah.
So that kind of differences are there. But it's not a lot. Like it'll make a lot of difference. Yeah.
All right. So when you were talking about the making the gears, you referred V. Like I wanted to know what V stood for. Like you told me about working with Sparky and all. So we were just wanted to touch on that.
We is Sparky only, not me.
No,
I used to be
that's
his
what I
manager
wanted to know.
for a long time. Yeah, I was his manager for a long time, and I still go for events with him and all. I'm not working with him now at this point. Yeah, so when I say we, it's actually Sparky.
So
Yeah,
what all
but it's just
events have
because
you
I've
been
been
to?
working.
What all events, major
Yeah,
events that you've been to with him?
I've been to Baha, India Baha 2018. It
Okay.
happens in Jaisalmer,
All right.
and then I've gone for the raid 2018, raid the
That's
Himalaya,
amazing. That's amazing.
and Sajoba that happened in Chandigarh.
Okay.
So from Chandigarh you go to the foothills of Himalayas and then you come back. So it's a very
That's
old rally. So 33. That rally has been happening for the past 33 years. Maybe, I believe maybe more. I'm not sure, but 30 years I'm sure.
all right.
And so St. John School and all these people organize this rally called Sajoba. 29. This year only I went for that year, just before the lockdown.
Like
Yeah.
while you go for rallies and all, so how many spare parts do you usually carry? Like, what is the prediction of okay, what am I going to break, or what is going to break, and am I going to roll over or not? So what are the
Well,
predictions according to the driver?
that's the that's the biggest fight we have always before going to a rally, that what parts do I need. So technically we do carry the whole car with us in spares. Yeah, so because that's needed. See, for example, if something breaks down, I am there to make sure that that guy's rally does not get spoiled.
Okay. So
So
you're the man behind the whole game that's happening right now at that particular
yeah, I
moment.
mean, yeah, it's like that. It's like we even carry gearboxes. Forget about parts. We carry gearboxes. We carry the only thing we don't carry is an engine. So if you blow your engine, I'm sorry. But if anything else, I'll we try to make it up. And
So what is
yeah,
like the optimum
so
time within that you finish? Like if something is broken, suppose a gearbox is broken. So what is the optimum time you get to like you have to do it in within 4 hours. You have to do it in within 5 hours.
no, 4 hours, 5 hours. You don't have that much time, man. It's more like within an hour, within 40
Oh my god,
minutes. Yeah.
that's a
That
huge
team
job.
needs to be really quick.
Like this Sajoba, we had an incident that there was an S team taking part. This was this guy's first rally, and he came to me for the service before just before the next travel to the, what do you call it,
The foothills.
the transport
Okay.
to the next rally stage. And car was fine. I checked it; it was fine. Like obviously, I can't get inside the gearbox and the engine and see what's wrong.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
true.
I saw visually, the car was fine, and there was no oil leaks, nothing. All the shockers were intact, no leaks. 13 minutes from there, he had left. He called me and said the gearbox is gone. In a transport section, can you imagine? Not even in the rally.
Oh my god, that's like the worst thing that can
And
happen to anyone. And things
right,
people
right.
do. I mean, is there a situation wherein people cheat per se? कुछ there's increase the power somehow जो नहीं होना चाहिए था. I don't know if
यार
you can
इसमें
take
ना
names. I mean,
FMSCI
you
का,
can take names if you want to.
no, I'll take names which I know I can. So FMSCI is very, how should I say? Whatever category you put your car in, we accept that. And if it's a visual thing which I can see, then I can object. Okay, bhai, this is not allowed in the category. But what is inside the engine, what is inside the gearbox, we will assume that what the guy is telling us is correct. Because see, if you are running a modified car in a stock category,
Yeah.
it's not fair for the other guys, right? So if I can see
Definitely.
visually that this car is going unrealistically fast on the track, then I have put protests for two, 3 people.
Like you can tell us about the motorsport culture, how it was before and how it has shifted now. What is the biggest change that you see right now?
See, earlier you had less entries in an event compared to what we have now. Now I see a lot of people in stock cars competing, which is not a sight earlier. People had this in mind that you need a prepped up car to be in a race and all that. But now I see a lot of people in the stock category coming up, and Yeah, so it has evolved a lot, and
Alright.
we see a lot of entries compared to what we saw earlier. So the scene is picking up, but obviously yes, it's still very low, and it's still a very small fraternity. The racing community is very small compared to what you know the the people should be there, and what kind of you'll see a lot of people buying expensive cars and running them on the road, never taking it to the track. So
Yeah, that's yeah.
that is changing now, though. We in the last there was an event called the X Factor, again organized by one of my dear friends, Rohit Khanna. He is actually the uh, JK Tire Formula winner. So, and he actually has a karting track also in Gurgaon called Kartomania.
Okay.
And so he did this event on it was the first autocross event held on the main Buddh circuit track.
Alright.
Like even right now, I mean, most of the autocross events, especially the tarmac ones, happen in Buddh circuit only, but they don't happen on the main track. There are a lot of other areas where you can run a tarmac event it's inside the Buddh circuit, but it's not the main track. So he did the first event on the main track of Buddh circuit, on an autocross event, and we saw a lot of Porsches, and this time I saw a Lancer Ego 10 also.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so the thing is, it's changing. It's getting better from what it was, and yeah, I see a lot of people. Like earlier, it used to be these 20 people I know will come. Rest I don't know.
Alright. So the entries have boomed a lot right now.
Yeah, like in the past 5 to 6 years, I would say.
So yeah, since we were talking about D&D Motorsports and him being your very good friend, and
Yeah.
we talked about it earlier as well that you were assisting one of the scrutinies there. How much how intense is it? How important the rule book is actually for any motorsport event?
See, the rule book is the Bible. You have to go according to that in every form. Even one mistake, the car will not run.
All right.
So you have to. Scrutiny is the most important aspect uh, of the race. Even after setting up the car and knowing that my car has all the scrutiny points in, but when I go for the scrutiny, it's like a moment of truth event.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You never know what
So
you left out.
scrutiny. Yeah, I mean, though we make it a point that one day before the rally or one day before the event that check all the scrutiny items, check everything. But it's uh, it's all up to this guy who's scrutinizing your car, that how it's gonna happen, what is gonna happen, and me assisting in the scrutiny process in one of the BND events. It was a lot of fun, and you get to see each and every car thoroughly, and yeah. So everything is basically divided into categories.
Okay.
So the car, whatever they say the category is, we check for that basically. And
I mean,
what we mainly check is the safety measures.
okay.
Yeah.
So since you've been to so many events and all, so what is the most beefed up car that you've seen? Like the car that has been winning since seasons and seasons, and they've maintained the trapper.
There are a few people like that. Yeah, I would say that every time you know that it's going to be between these two or three people.
Okay.
Uh, One is Achintya Mehrotra.
Okay.
He's
The
got the
Turbo
Turbo
Swift.
Swift. Yeah. Then one is Philip Poismathai,
All right.
who runs a workshop called Speed Sport.
Okay.
And then third is Abhishek Mishra from Jaipur. He has
He's
got an
been
S
racing
team,
with
which,
Sparky.
yeah, for a very long time. So yeah,
Spark,
So that's a
these
very
it's
humble
it's
way to slide in Sparky and saying, "Hey, hum bhi jeet rahe hain."
yeah, like it's a these three people have been there in every event, in every race. And out of this, Abhishek Mishra does rallies also,
Okay.
and he's got a Grand Vitara, the old Grand Vitara.
All right.
which is prepped up for the rally. He's won I think 5 or 6 Desert Storms till now.
That's a very big number.
It is one of the most difficult rallies in India at this point,
Oh my god.
covering more than 2,000 kilometers in 4 or 5 days.
So you're running in RD
So,
right now. So what is the
yeah, I'm
experience,
running
your
on RD.
experience with RD? What are the power figures if you want to disclose them? Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's fine.
see, I have actually not taken. No, I have no problem in that. I've actually not dynoed my car though.
Okay.
But yeah, should be around 130, 140 horsepower with the ECU.
Oh, okay.
And on the
So
stock
do
ECU
you have
should be
plans
around
to
120.
turbocharge it eventually someday?
Yeah, man, like hopefully one
It's
day.
like one dream of everyone to get a turbo, get a big ass turbo, and put it in the vehicle.
Yeah, it is actually definitely on the cards. Let's see when I can do it. Because turboing a car, sounds very easy, but it's actually not.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
terms of, it's
I completely
basically
understand.
it's what kind of turbo will suit your car, what kind of boost will suit your car, will your car be able to handle that much boost, what setup you're running, all that things come into play. So what the basic problem is to choose a turbocharger, because there are plenty of there around and you don't know which one to go for. So yeah, but it's the ultimate dream of every car guy to have a turbo on a car which does not have a turbo.
That's true.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, like
except Esteem, आपके पास और कौन सी कार है जो आपने मॉडिफाई कर रखी है?
नहीं और कोई नहीं है. Rest all cars in my house are bone stock to the tires. So there's because you see, to be honest, the more than money, it's time needed for all these things. So time is, you can only, cut out so much time for your car. So one project car is enough.
One project, one lifetime is, I think, more than enough because you invest a huge amount of time in that one project. How long did it take
Yeah,
you to
it's
build that whole
it's
thing?
see, it was my build was a gradual build, so it took a while. The engine swap actually Sparky did a very good job. He gave me the car in 2 days,
Oh my god, that's like the quickest that
which
I've
I've
heard as
never
of now.
I've never heard of it in my life.
Oh my god.
Like 2 days for an engine swap, and actually he had the engine in the car on the first day only. Like I gave the car to him, and
Okay.
the day I gave the car to him, it was already evening, so cut that day out. I think it was 5 o'clock already. So the next day, the engine was in the car, and the third day, the car was. I took a test drive on the third day. So yeah.
That's one of the happiest feeling for anyone.
Yeah, and when I started working with Sparky, then I realized that how you know he did it, because I have seen people who ask for like 15 days, 20 days, 1 month also, and 2 days was amazing. But then when I saw, like, there's another project we did, it was a Honda Jazz, which was running a Honda City engine, and we swapped in the K24 Accord engine in that.
Accord engine.
So even that was a very even getting everything modified for that engine to fit in. I think we took about 4 to 5 days to put the engine in, and
That's
like
incredible.
we did run into a lot of problems with that car though, like while doing the swap, because it was the first of its kind in India at least. So yeah, we did run into a lot of problems, but then even after facing all those problems, I think 5 days we had the engine in the car. And these Suzuki cars being so easy to work on, it's actually a lot of fun, because it's swapping engines is very very easy actually.
Your time that you spent with Sparky and worked with Sparky as a manager. So what was
Mhm.
the biggest number of bar numbers that you saw?
See, again, we have never dynoed a car,
Okay, you haven't dynoed a car. So
because
approximately
there's only one dyno in Delhi right now.
okay.
So yeah, like uh, when we started it was not that dyno was also not there. So initially we didn't dyno any of our cars. We did dyno one of our supercharged Honda. We have another Honda Jazz. It's got a Sprintex supercharger with a Honda City engine. So we are talking about 170 brake maybe.
That's a huge number.
And that was not in its full form, because that time it was running actually a stock ECU, which we had remapped. And now the car runs a Link Atom 2. So it's a full standalone system now. So we haven't dynoed after the Link, but it feels much better than what it was. So 138 wheel at that time. So yeah.
138 wheel at that time. We're running a stock ECU. Just remapping the stock ECU.
Yeah.
Delhi का car modification scene South India से कैसे, like how is it different? What all have you seen majorly in North?
There's always
versus
been
South?
a clash between.
See, like I have seen some crazy cars from the south also. Like I can't deny that fact. Yeah, like some crazy builds I've seen, which have, because see there are reasons for that. The reasons are there's no proper tuner. By tuner I mean not a, hardware guys are there in the north. The software people are not there. Like even for this Jazz, when we put a Link ECU in that, we had to call a guy from Malaysia to tune the ECU. So that is where the challenge comes in. Hardware is not a difficult job to do. I mean, it is, but if you know what you're doing, it's not a very difficult thing to do. The thing is to have that ECU tuned to run everything in synchronization. So that is where in North we are lagging. That's the only place we are lagging. So if you want to talk about just a build, just an autocross build, I think we are at par with everyone around.
Okay.
But when it comes to crazy builds, like builds which you have not seen or heard of in your life, like there was this Baleno, the old Baleno, a turbo Baleno with a big ass turbo. The turbo was bloody bigger than my head, and that car was running 280 wheel horsepower, which is actually a crazy number for a Baleno.
Yeah, that's that. Even now, the race concepts, they made around Accord, which is around a drag spec Accord, which is around making around
I've seen that
600
one.
horsepower.
Yeah.
That's always been this whole scene wherein they have the mentality of dragging the vehicle. So drag eventually needs a lot of power.
Yeah, true.
That's there.
So again, it depends. Like in North, there are no drag events that happen.
Yeah.
So you don't need outright power to compete in a rally or an autocross. You need more of the setup should be there of the car rather than just being power. In drag, the thing is power. Making a car fast is actually not difficult. You put in parts, the car will be fast.
Yeah.
You as a driver, if you can't drive that car as fast as it's supposed to be driven, there's no point of having such a fast car, right?
Yeah. You need to be able to handle so much power.
That is another thing. Yeah, if you're not used to a stock car in a rally or a race, how can you get used to a car which is putting out 30-40% more power than that?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, like if it's a drag event, like I'm not saying anything, you just have to drive in a straight line.
Yeah, this might be a little controversial. People will be like, "Nahi, aise kaise? Hum seedha chalana nahi."
No, but that's true. All you need to do is learn how to launch your car and then learn when to shift or how to shift. That's the key of a drag race. There's nothing else that can go wrong. In an autocross, on a track, things change. Like power is not the only thing. And there are people. I have seen people. Yeah, first is how to use that power. Second, I've seen people with crazy cars, putting out crazy horsepower, but a lower horsepower car is beating that car. So it comes on to the driver. So you need to reach that level first as a driver before you build a car or camshaft, pistons, this and that. Yeah, so it sounds very fascinating.
Fancy. Yeah.
That's it. I have a high lift cam, forged piston, high compression piston, forged rods, this and that. it's not
I
required
can
till
go
you
around
actually
it, but I
reach
can't
that.
go around a corner.
Yeah, so there's no point in that, no.
Yeah, true. That's very
Yeah.
true. So I think overall we had an amazing session with you. You know, we had the whole situation wherein you talked about your experience. You talked about how important the car culture is and how the evolution of car culture has begun. So I think it has been a great experience talking to you, and we would love to have you
The
again.
pleasure is mine.
We would
Oh,
love to have you
anytime,
again
anytime, anytime.
with all your new builds. Hopefully, another project car that's up in your garage somewhere.
Hopefully, yeah, like, well, I will need one because now the twin cam engine is not allowed in the autocross anymore.
Okay,
So
twin
yeah,
cam. So
I,
it's
but I
we're
can't
looking forward
part
to it.
ways. Yeah, but I can't part ways with the Esteem because it's more than just a, how do I
Yeah,
say,
I
a car for
completely
me.
feel
It's
you.
much more
I
than
run
that.
an esteem too.
So
I
yeah,
completely feel
so
you.
this will still be there, and maybe then I'll have time for another project car. Let's see.
So I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yep.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you for being on the Untitled Car Project with us.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you so much.
And